All right, folks, here's where the weekend's course is at. Today's after the first day of the course, and it was a really great course. Really good to get that first-hand information off butchers. There's the information for anyone who's looking at contacting these guys. By all means, if you're looking at learning how to butcher, do the course. Very much well worthwhile. I'll take you for a tour of the shop tomorrow and let you have a look in there, and I'll show some bits and pieces of the course.
Twine. So it is woven, and it's just good for, like I said, trussing things. And the reason we do that is that we want to basically have that piece of meat so it's nice and even, so it'll cook evenly. And that's just trying to straighten that edge. That's as simple as that. All right. So we're not actually using any form of force on there because it's not required, because there is an edge on this. All right. All right. So when a knife's blunt, we need to re-establish the edge, all right? And to do that, we need to take metal away, okay? So there's two aspects of sharpening, and there's two aspects of knife sharpeners. Is some sharpeners fall into edge establishment, and other sharpeners, i.e. steels in most cases, fall into the honing. If you get on YouTube, you'll just start going down a rabbit hole. This is actually the edge of your knife when we're looking at this, okay? What happens when your knife goes blunt is you end up with big shoulders on your knife, and you can understand how that would be sharper than that, okay, and not cut as precisely. So what we're doing when we're sharpening is we're actually taking those shoulders. If we're doing a typical V sharpen, okay, we're actually taking those shoulders away, so you go back to that nice V that's going to be sharp, and it's going to retain the edge for a lot longer. So on the steels here, there's a lot of different cuts you can get, as well as different shapes and sizes, but this one here is an example. See how it's smooth? There's no cut or grit on it, all right? So if I've done a really good job on that stone, then effectively I can just use this steel here to just sharpen and hone that knife edge, all right? But, you know, it depends how well you actually use the stone and how well that edge has been established, all right? Your knife gets clamped into here, into a little jig, which is spring-loaded. Okay, and then you've got full angle precision, so to the degree in something like this, all right? So with that flip over, you basically can flip that straight over, the knife doesn't come out of the jig, sharpen, sharpen, sharpen at the same angle, and you're away, all right? And you can you see the bend in that? Yep. Okay, so that's roughly where we need to be, where we'll find that ball joint, just in here, okay? We're just cutting through like that, okay? Yeah. Just like that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So, just cutting here, and just again trying to work out the contour of the bone, and just work your way around. Okay. So you're doing your best to cut the meat from the bone. And on the other side, again, just tracing your way around, working around.
Hey, everyone hard at work on their butchering.
We haven't got a lot of... Awesome, thanks.
No drums.
I'll get smoked for P&M soup.
Got to wear the gloves here, OH&S requirement. Bandsaw here, which of course the staff have got to use because it can remove fingers.
Most of them are American. There's two problems with American books. They're written in American, and they're written in American. It's not English. They're also empirical measurements, a cup of this, a teaspoon of that, and for some reason the American books start with 5 pounds of meat, which as you know is about 2.2 kilos. Go to the butcher and say, I want 2.2 kilos, not 2.3, 2.2, because the recipe says 5 pounds. You do that, and you come home, and that says half a teaspoon. But you haven't got 2.2 kilos, you've got 3. You've got to scale up. And you've got to remember that an American teaspoon is different from a British teaspoon. Try to include ingredients by a percentage rate, by reference to the weight of meat. Because when you go to the butcher's shop, they don't give you 2.2 kilos. They give you this slab of meat, a little bit over, is that all right? You don't have fine. But if you've got a percentage-based recipe, it doesn't matter how much meat you've got. It becomes quite easy.
So this morning we're starting with the belly. I'm making pancetta out of my belly. So that's where our first cut's going to be. There's the pancetta all ready to go in the fridge. Okay, next up is the Capicolo. So this is out of the pork shoulder, Boston butt as the Americans would know it, or the Scotch. And we're going to make Capicolo out of that. There's the Capicolo all rubbed in, ready to go out in the fridge.
Just focus on one bit at a time. So the belly is obviously not particularly thick. Oh, there's no special way to do this, right or wrong. You're just basically putting the brine into the actual meat. So just try and pick thick parts and make sure you're covering. If you don't quite get the needle all the way in, you actually cover it with your hand, otherwise it'll get in your face. See how it blows it up? All right, so there's no need to sort of sit it there. You've got to move it around continuously. You don't want to do just in one spot. It's quite hard to do the belly, so traditionally I don't even inject the belly because it's so much thinner. I just literally soak it in the brine solution, but I'm just doing this for a bit of show. Just inject a little bit in there. So you can see that blowing up. Was that all right? So we're just injecting some cure into it so it speeds up the curing process. The hardest thing with this, as opposed to using a recipe and a reference like Peter's book, is there's no set time frame for the actual. Have you got anything in there in terms of wet curing calculators, like a brine calculator?
No, but for things like that, I do for about a week.
Yeah, see, that would be probably like, I wouldn't do that for a week personally.
It's already injected.
Yeah, because it's been injected, it typically should speed up the process by half.
Yeah.
But if it was wet cured, dry brined, then it's a completely different story. Then it would be that 5 to 7 days overhauling, same as that sort of thing. When you're smoking something, you always want to develop a dry pellicle or sticky surface, so the smoke will actually adhere to it. So all that means is literally you hang it up in the cool room or uncovered in your fridge until your surface is dry. With this other part here, we can refer to Peter's recipe for this one, in a sense. 4 days per kilo, but he's talking, a leg, but I mean that should still be fine for the loin section. Literally all I'm going to do for that is grab a container, scoop some of this out, put your piece of pork in the bag and tip some in so it's covered. And then you guys, when you get it home, will just make sure that it's got enough to cover it, and just make sure you either weight it down or you flip it and just keep a bit of an eye on it throughout that period of time.
With the British cool down,
Yep.
what we would call unsmoked ham or unsmoked bacon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But rather than cooking it in the oven, you hot smoke it.
Yeah.
Same. You don't need to skin the bits in there.
Yeah.
It's a technique for much thicker bits. If you want to make a proper ham, like a big piece of meat, then I brine at a rate of 30%. Sounds like a lot,
Yeah.
and it'll really pump up the meat, but that way you get an even cure, and it's not dry when you cut it, but the commercial hams are really, really wet.
Yeah.
You don't get that, but they're all brine injected. It works well with big bits, because if you just stick it in a bucket of brine, you'll get grey bits through it, because the cure doesn't penetrate evenly, worse the risk. Pumping means that doesn't happen. And that's why the commercial people do it. They also do it to increase the weight.
Yeah.
All right, folks, tail end of the weekend. So we are making some salami. This is Calabrese salami. And working as a team to try and put them together. Netting them up, just to try and keep them all nice and consistent. The course is done. Everyone's gone. Poor Brent's left to clean everything up. Been a fantastic place. I'll show you some of the produce in a second. As you come into the shop, this is a foodie's paradise. Coffee, the stuff just here. Baking, just there. Easy Sharp blade sharpeners. I'll throw a link onto the Amazon. They do ship internationally. So I'll also throw in the website. Instapots, slow cookers, yogurt makers, waffle irons. You name it, it's here. Some really nice native hardwood chopping boards. Lodge pans. Very hard to get over here in Australia. And they've got the lodge pans here. Cookware, Pyrex, food processing, small hand machines, pots, all your kitchen gadgets, sick-up knife sets, knife blocks, lots of knives, sharpening systems, with some decent electric sharpening systems, book on sharpening, stones, yeah, up to 8,000 sort of grit. More your trade sort of quality knives, FDIC, one of the top brands, going for the trade stuff, steels, again, more Dick knives. We got salami mixers, salami starter kit. I would be getting one of these, but unfortunately I need it over in America, and it's just going to cost me too much to ship it over there.
It's a bit misleading, as I said.
Netting, butcher's twines, casings, cheese kits, fermentation kits, kilner jars, fowlers, spaghetti sauce making stuff. We've got both the big machines, some smaller machines as well. Smokers, barbecues, dehydrators, vac sealers. We've got mincers, different styles of casings hung up, slices, scales, some massive sausage fillers. And again, given a choice, I would be getting this vertical one. That's what we use today for the course. Absolutely love it, but I'm not going to be able to ship it across. We've got bandsaw, commercial vac sealer, mixers. We got jerky seasonings, beer making, artisan sausage, wine making, more beer making, and more stuff for the wine cider making. Love the little cider press, bigger cider press, for making your distilled liquors at home. We've got essences. Again, we're back to beer making sort of stuff. A bar set up so you can have your beer on tap. Slices, wrappers, hand mincers, dehydrator, spice mixers. Here we've got some butchering gear, cut resistant gloves. We've got the attachments to go on your mincers. Butcher's aprons, which we actually get a free one for the course. Salami pricker, dry aging bags. Some Dickinson bone saws, which are absolutely fantastic. I have a Dickinson myself. We've got some killers, some sausage mixers, different natural casings, bunch of books on preserving, wood chips. Well, there's a quick look around the shop. Jump online, have a look at the online store. Fantastic stuff, fantastic people. Give them a call if you're unsure, but as I said, they're happy to send stuff overseas. Obviously with bigger items, it's gonna be pretty expensive to send them overseas. That's why I'm not sending a sausage maker. It comes out at about 14 kilos. So roughly about 40 pound, roughly about 30 pound, a little bit better. So the shipping would be very high. So I'm probably gonna go to sausage maker to pick up a sausage stuffer. All right, let's have a quick look at what we got out of the course. All right, folks, this part's a little bit out of order. This is after I've got home. and had a chance to set everything out just so I can present it properly to you all. All right, now the big question, of course, when you do a course is what do you come home with? Number one is coming home with the knowledge of how to do charcuterie safely. That is important. If you get things wrong, you can make people very, very sick. Potentially you can get things to where if you get the wrong bacteria in there, you can kill people. So that's the number one thing out of it. All right, now I got a chance to test one of my knives. That's always a bonus. Performed really well. Happy with that. Now, as to what you actually get from on the course, you get this book from Peter, who was there, one of the presenters for it. It's the winner of the Gourmand World Cookbook Awards, which is, you know, it's a rated book. It's fantastic. And this here is Peter's breakdown of his journey into charcuterie, along with his recipes and that sort of thing. He said he's got another one coming out soon, which I'm looking forward to. I am certainly going to grab it when it comes out. You get a knife. This is a boning knife, about a 6-inch boning knife, commercial sort of quality, you know, wonderful little knife. I will probably make up a decent sheath for it, and it will become part of my uses. Another thing you get is a butcher's apron. This is a plasticky type of material, polyester. So yes, very much like a curtain material. Wonderful apron. I need to clean mine because it's been used all weekend. As far as the meat, it's not set in stone what you're doing. You actually get to choose what you're doing with your meat, and decide on the cuts that you want to make. If you want to take cuts fresh, that's up to you. If you want to take them as charcuterie, again, that's up to you. Okay, so we have here bacon, which now I'm home, I've got to put it in a decent container, lay it out flat, just so the brine can get into it. This one is Peter's recipe. It's an apple cider cure. It's mainly for gammon, which is an English style of non-smoked ham. So I'm still going to smoke it and make it as bacon. This one here is a commercial cure, which is a maple cure, and that one's been injected in. So yummy yum. Next we have some pancetta. This is out of the belly. Americans, this would generally be a streaky bacon. This is being made up as pancetta, which is a non-smoked sort of meat. There's 2 pieces of belly in there, and again, they need to be massaged and rotated probably about a week, and that one doesn't need smoking. Skin on, which is traditional. So, yum. This one here is Capicolo, which is the Scotch or the Boston butt, and that one's done up with a traditional Capicolo cure. As you can see, all of these, in the time it's taken to get home, you know, we've only put the cures on today, and they've already started pulling moisture out. So they will pull more moisture out as they cure. All right, next up we've got the legs. Some people were turning these into prosciutto. Prosciutto takes 6 to 12 months to cure. I'm not set up as far as the curing to dedicate that time to it. Pretty much need a curing cabinet to keep the temperatures pretty good. Also, you know, I'm going away in November for a month, so I'm not going to be able to care for that piece of meat. So I am not going to be doing mine as a pancetta. I'm just going to be doing a full-size leg ham. Didn't inject it while we were there because I would have had trouble bringing it home. Brent was quite nice enough to give me a bag of maple ham cure. So I'll mix that up and inject it here at home. Next up we've got salami. I got 5 Calabrese salamis, decent size out of it. So that's a full salami wrap, and they need to hang up for about 6 weeks roughly. But they need to lose about 30 to 40% of their weight. Just depends on how firm you like your salami. But yeah, done up with the net, done with the collagen wrapper. So they need to go out and hang in the back and you just cure off. Next up is the bonus stuff. You know, you've got a full side of pork to deal with. So when I sheet boned out the bacon, I've got some pork ribs. Yum. I've got a couple of bags of the bones. A lot of people didn't take the bones. Any of the leftover bones are going to the rendering plant to be turned into blood and bone meal. I did take them. Gonna pick a few out for Bob because he'll be very happy. Gonna make sure, that's very important for what I'm gonna do with it. Gonna make sure that anything you give to the dog is a non-weight bearing bone. So this breastbone and these tail ribs is perfect for the dog. Something like this leg, the front leg, you don't want to give that to the dog. They are too hard and they will wear their teeth down prematurely. I'll pick some out for Bob. The rest are going to get roasted up, and then I'm going to make a bone broth out of those. You know, I can't see any point in letting anything go to waste. So there's everything that I picked up from the course, as well as the knowledge. And the knowledge is super important. And just because you've gone and done the course doesn't mean everything's over. You've still got to treat all the meat safely until you get it to that cure stage, and then it still needs to be done safely. All right, folks, there's the course over. When I get home, I'll film what I've made, and I'll probably throw it in back before this section. So someone's been very patiently waiting in the car for me. Well worth the trip, especially if you're local to this area, to come see my Slice of Life. Do one of their butchery and charcuterie courses. You get a free knife, a free butcher's apron. We got a free charcuterie book, which is this one, a charcuterie diary. This is written by Peter, who was actually one of the presenters on the class. The wealth of knowledge, having a butcher teach you how to butcher the pig, and then having a charcuterie expert teach you how to do the charcuterie, just makes life so much easier. You can learn off YouTube, you know, lots of us do. But yeah, having those things really help along. All right, thank you very much for watching, and bye for now.